After so many years, hounded by hatred and trapped by fear, I'm in a box. I've got no place to go. If I follow my mind, I know I'll slaughter my own. Help me, I'm the prisoner. Won't you hear my plea? I need somebody, yeah, to listen to me. I beg you, brothers and sisters, I'm counting on you, yeah. Black babies in the womb, shackled and bound, chained by the caveman who keeps beauty down.
My name is Harry Belafonte. I am an American citizen. As an American citizen, along with millions of others in my country, we extend this day our great sense of gratitude and solidarity with the people of France, and in particular with the people of the city of Saint-Denis. That you have named a street after a great political prisoner in this country by the name of Mumia Abu Jamal is indeed a great act of courage and a great act of human decency. A stadium in your country called the Stadium of Nelson Mandela is another act of generosity from the citizens of your city that has chosen to make sure that the world stays sensitive to those who have been wrongfully charged and convicted of crimes they did not commit. Such is the case with Mumia Abu Jamal. He is not guilty of the crimes for which he has been charged. And for many years, he's been in solitary confinement. He's been on death row. And time again, in the appeal of his case, it has been shown that there has been this miscarriage of justice. He did not commit the crimes he's been charged with. And those who prosecuted him know that. It is up to us citizens of the world who care about justice to stay the course to make sure that he is released and that all charges are dropped against him. Once again, thank you so much for this contribution you're making. I'd like to also
Peace and love, family. Welcome again to the NEPPC podcast. I'm Brother Frank, and I'm with my brother and former political prisoner,
Abdul Islam.
Today we celebrate the life of Mumia Jamal as he made 69 years old. That means he's been incarcerated for over 40 years. What does that mean? It means that we have been doing many work to bring him home, but we still have more work to do. We cannot say enough or give ourselves enough credit. Those who have been doing this work longer than I've been, and even those who jumped on at the time that I jumped on to bring him home. There's been people victories with getting him off of death row, and for that we must become inspired. Harry Belafonte did his work in advocating for Mumia's release, and for that we salute him and we give revolutionary condolences to him and to his family on his transition. Now an ancestor, let us be inspired to continue to pick up where he left off with fighting for ideas that we deem as being correct, fighting for human rights. And Mumia's situation is a fight for human rights. So we have to take our position, we have to accept our role, and we got to prepare ourselves to prepare another generation to take on this work. Because whenever we take up this work, we establish momentum. And when we bring others aboard, we establish accelerated member. So I do Haq Islam on this very important day as we salute our comrade in the struggle for freedom, Mumia Abu Jamal. What are your words, my brother?
Well, I say peace and love. Greeting out there to the family, out there, beautiful people. I'd like to begin by addressing something to Sister Joy Powell. I was on the phone with her the other day, and the phone was interrupted by an outside force, and I hope I don't want the sister to think that I hung up on her, so anybody who knows Sister Joy Powell, I hope the message gets to her that I didn't cut her off, that my phone was malfunctioning, and that the call was interrupted by the phone company, trying to straighten out the business of me accepting calls. And I'd like to tell her that indeed, yes, to her question that she had for me on that day, in terms of her calling me and Brother Frank. Okay. Yes, indeed. So we say on Mumia's birthday, which was the 24th of this month, we say happy birthday, Mumia, and we ask the people out there in viewership to multiply the message, to give Mumia a birthday present by multiplying the message, multiplying the fire. You understand? They're getting the information out there about Brother Mumia, Now, as our children are in school and white supremacy is trying to turn them into brainless donkeys, telling them about, human rights, the First Amendment, the long white con about freedom. Mumia's case needs to be taught to them at home at the same time, while they try to run that game on us about the First Amendment, freedom of speech. They tried to murder Brother Mumia because of him exercising his so-called freedom of speech and his expertise in doing such, knowing that he's innocent. There's much evidence has come out. The state knows, okay, of Mumia's innocence. For example, the state knows that uh, Cynthia White and Veronica Jones were both prostitutes.
Teach, brother, teach.
Was given permission to work freely, selling their bodies, for their false testimony about Brother Mumia.
He had ulterior motives.
Yeah, and this evidence is focused, and the state knows it, and the state is saying that that don't mean no difference. The brothers and sisters out there, you're the jury. You are the jury. If you was on a jury and you was informed that the witnesses on the stand was given a deal, they had cases pending, get the cases dropped. If they would testify, would you think that was relevant? Would you think that they were credible witnesses? Also, they know that Robert Colbert, who said that his cab was parked very near the scene of the crime. Photographs has come up that show there wasn't no cab nowhere near the scene of the crime. And this is evidence which was withheld from Mumia's defense team. A brother named Arnold Beverly has confessed to the murders, and the state knows all this, so how can we, not be filled with rage at the injustice being done to Brother Mumia Abu Jamal, a brother who exposed the corruption of
that's what
Philadelphia Police Department.
I'm sorry, brother.
Yeah.
No, because as soon as you said that, you know what came to mind? That Mumia represents truth, and that's what it is. And if we stand on truth, if we have solidarity with the truth, then we got to struggle to bring Mumia's home.
Right.
That's what I want to say, brother.
So as why, also usually, when there's a murder, they take the area off, they look for evidence. That didn't happen in Mumia's case. They didn't they didn't test Mumia's gun for ballistics. It was a 44 caliber bullet that killed the officer, and Mumia's gun was not a 44. They didn't test his hands for powder burns. At the time of Mumia's arrest, the statement was made by the cops that the defendant made no comments. Later on, when they asked, was there a confession, they raised up his hand and said, oh yeah, Mumia said, yeah, I killed the blankety blank, and I'm glad I did it. So all this, if tell yourself, brothers and sisters out there, if you was on the jury, and this type of evidence was made plain to you while you sat there on the jury, you understand, what would you say? The state is saying that it wouldn't have made no difference to the jury. The state today, that just denied Mumia his appeal. They were saying that it wouldn't have made any difference to the jurors if they had heard this information. In other words, they're reading the minds of the jurors, saying it wouldn't have made any difference whatsoever. So we can't let them continue running this game, this charade, trying to turn our people into dummies, talking about you got so-called rights, a First Amendment right. Here's a clear example of a brother who they tried to murder. They tried to give the electric chair. You understand? They say the electric chair death is so horrible, the people's eyes explode. Their blood catch on fire. You understand? They start smoking. You understand? And they wanted to do this to a man they knew was innocent. So we got to increase the fire for Mumia's birthday. We say, give Mumia a birthday present by multiplying the rage, multiplying the demand that he be set free. Political prisoners have been set free recently, and with pressure from the people, that's how political prisoners are set free. It ain't the state, it ain't the law
Right.
that much.
Right.
That might be 10% of what is beneficial, but the real beneficial is the muscle and the
Yes.
energy and the hearts of the people out there in society, that demand justice, and what's the call? Free them all.
Absolutely. So, we have work ahead of us. We have to be creative, right? Let's bring in communities, our communities, wherever you at. Talk to your local church, talk to your masjids, your synagogue, and let those people know about Mumia's situation. Mumia is a political prisoner. Mumia is a prisoner who is in prison because of his position as it relates to the acquisition of power. Mumia understands that the only way that people are going to change their current situation is through the acquisition of power. So that's something that you have to struggle for, you have to fight for. To be in power or to have power means that you control your own destiny. And Mumia understands that clearly. And to do that, you're going to have to make some sacrifices, right? We have some martyrs and we have some political prisoners. And if it's not that high level of sacrifice being made, then there's other sacrifices you have to make, like prioritizing your life, saying, is the struggle for real change more important than going here, visiting here, or participating in this and that, things that are not necessarily going to get you in a position of power. So you have to be clear with making those serious decisions, because those are life choices that are going to affect your life today, tomorrow, and the day after. So when we talk about Mumia, we have to be very serious and very clear about the importance of the role that we play in bringing him home. And we have to do more, right? For 40 plus years that he's been incarcerated, there's been some tremendous work, hours of demonstrations, hours of organizing, hours of rallies, hours of doing research to produce documentaries. And we salute all those who participated, and whatever you were able to do, your effort and your work is truly appreciated. But the fact is, Mumia is not home, right? He's been incarcerated for decades now. He's missed a number of family events. He hasn't been able to participate at the level that he would like in terms of his family's development. So, that tremendous sacrifice needs to be looked at and needs to be taken seriously as to how it affects his mental state. And, stress is serious, right? That leads to depression. Depression, you start having physical issues, medical issues. And, so we want Mumia to stay as strong as possible. And the way we make sure that he's strong as possible is to let him know that he's not forgotten. And we do that by doing what we can do. We produce this podcast every week because we want to let people know that, it's serious, right? I was bothered by the fact that I found out that about 2 people participate in Ed Poindexter's committee to bring him home. That's not enough. That's why this podcast is so important. Our subscription is currently at 199 subscribers on the YouTube channel. We encourage people who are currently watching this to share it, because once we start broadening our audience, our subscribers, then we could get people in different areas to do their job, right? You write from where you at. You encourage your family to write. Now we have more letters. If the first time around when a political prisoner went to the war, he or she had 1,000 letters. The next time he got 2,000, or he or she got 2,000, or even 4,000. Just to give you an idea of how we got to do things materially to produce the results that we want, because it's the demand of the people that get us what we want, and that those people have to be more than just me and Abdul Haq, or me and a number of people who are in various committees. It has to be the community. And on that note, Veronda Bowers just replied back to the community of Queensbridge, and he wrote a letter about what he thinks should be done regarding dealing with the issue of mental health. He presented an exercise based on a person that was dealing with a serious stress issue because of their fight for justice to protect their very life. And he provided a exercise that was going to get that person in a elevated, relaxed state and able to better assess their current situation. And I bring that up to let you know that wherever you're at, write to a political prisoner, wait for that political prisoner to write back, and build that relationship, and to have your community write to the community, write to the political prisoner, have the political prisoner write back to the community. Now he or she has that relationship with the community. Now the community feels more of that connection, more of, you know what, I can do something. You know what, I will do something. And I think, that has to be examined, because to not write to a political prisoner, to ignore them and to let them die in prison is to say that they're not political prisoners. They're not freedom fighters. They're terrorists. They're criminals, and they need to die behind bars. It's a so-called correctional facility, right? And if so, then how long does the process to correct somebody take? Yes, I said that before. You're going to hear me say that over and over again, because that is that contradiction that cannot be ignored. It's one of those contradictions that the only way it can be actually reconciled is by a political prisoner being free, and we being in a position of power to determine what's right and what's wrong as it relates to a group of people. I know when I read Mumia and I learn more about the current situation that we're living in, I just salute him tremendously, because I said to myself, regardless of where he's at, regardless of what he might be going through personally, he's still obligated to fight for people, his people who are oppressed, people who are exploited. And he fights through raising people's consciousness. And I think that is one powerful weapon we cannot understate or state enough. We have to give it its credit, give its due credit, because to be conscious is to understand that I'm going to relate my reality a little bit differently. I'm going to make a decision about what I need to do. I'm going to stand up and fight back. I'm not going to ignore these problems and pass them on to somebody else or to another generation. And that's what we have to do when it comes to our political prisoners. We have to take this seriously. We're going to have some upcoming work going on, writing campaign to political prisoners. I'll let everybody know when that happens, because it's very important that we participate on that. Even if you write a paragraph or write a few sentences, you know, do what you have to do. Introduce yourself and let a political prisoner know. When you think about Mumia, comrade, and you think about his sacrifices and commitment to bringing people the truth, what does that make you think about how you relate to him being incarceration and how you need to do the work to bring him home?
Well, I'm very, very grateful for the truth and analysis that Mumia, brings forth for our people. Like I said, what made him an enemy of the state was the fact that he was exposing the corruption of the Philadelphia Police Department, very, very racist, violent, you understand, corrupt outfit, you understand. And Mumia, is an example of, speaking up boldly, putting the real information out there and doing it in a very, very artistic way. He's a very, very skilled with words, and um, you know, I myself have had experience with pigs. I don't usually talk about my situation, but I had the cops jump on me, and when I fought back and sent a couple of them to the hospital, then I was charged with assaulting them when indeed they assaulted me. So I did time, you understand, for being assaulted by police. And to the people out there that's listening, I know many of you have had abuses by the system. So don't feel by yourself because millions of our people have been wronged, by this system of white supremacy, racism, the most violent system in the history of the world, and we have power. We love power. You got some people who don't like the word black power. So how can you not like black power? If you love your black self. So all of us coming together, organizing and fighting. We have the power to make things happen. And I said that this is what we should do, and that our political prisoners represent those, who have stood the tallest, most fearless. It is always good to be around revolutionaries, people who believe we can do anything, people whose spirits have not been crippled, whose mentality has not been has not been destroyed, has not become robots for a system, to parrot falsehoods, So we salute those who stood up for us, and we call our people, to become a mighty force for justice, because all of us who've been done injustice, we have fires in our hearts. So bring these fires together, and indeed, when revolutionaries come together, we become very confident, and the vibe is that we will win. And we have won victories by a lot of work we've done out here. And so we're saying, to continue the work, um, to read the writings of Mumia Jamal, and demand his freedom, and to uplift the call, free them all.
Yes, free them all. We have to struggle for that to make that a reality. This is this is opening paragraph in Mumia's book. We want freedom. And I think that this is a very important book because we want freedom, a life in the Black Panther Party. He documents what went on. He talked about Huey's role. He talked about COINTELPRO. He talks about the woman role in the party. This is opening paragraph on this on chapter 2, the deep roots of the struggle for Black liberation. It says the roots of armed resistance run deep in African American history. Only those who ignore this fact see the Black Panther Party as somehow foreign to our common historical inheritance. And I think that that paragraph itself, because all the opening paragraphs do is prepare you for what's coming, right? With the other paragraphs, they'll further elaborate and give a sharper a breakdown of what the opening paragraph is saying. So that statement right there is letting us know that there is a historical reference that we need to identify with regarding how we fight for our liberation. And I think that he played his role very responsibly in documenting the Black Panther Party's history. He understood that he had a responsibility to pass it on to another generation and in our own words, controlling our own narrative. Because if we let foreigners do that, then now history is sabotaged, it's compromised. Now you want to say that okay, people were not ready to bear arms or take up arms to protect their very lives because that's not what you think should be done for those people. Now you have somebody else, somewhere else outside of your situation, telling you how should you proceed to acquire liberation. And I think that that's very important that we have our own authors. So we have to pay respect, enough respect to Mumia Abu Jamal for his role that he played, because he plays a very brave role. He's accountable. He takes a position that's uncompromising, regardless of the current situation that he's in. Because Mumia, like Geronimo Bratt, could have probably just been home if they said what those who incarcerated them want them to say. But these people these political prisoners, these freedom fighters are people of principles. And we have to admire that because all our lives, as our mother and our parents, our guardians, our fathers, whoever's responsible for being hands-on with our development and our growth, teaches us that you have to stand up for what's right. You have to defend yourself. You can't let nobody push you over. Right? So these are the ideas that we were brought up on. So Mumia is only doing what we all were taught to do. So we have to respect that. And if we truly admire that, then we'll be involved in a campaign to bring him home. We'll have fundraisers and we'll give him some money so he can further his campaign to come home. We would pass on information about Mumia so that more people can get informed and we can accelerate that momentum that is established anywhere somebody decides that they're going to accept the challenge to free and bring political prisoners home. So that is very important that we understand that because now we are clear on the role that we have to play. When we at our family functioning and we engage in conversations, there's so many distractions. I was recently looking at listening to a hip hop album by Cormega out of Queensbridge and called The Realness. And one part he says, starve distractions and feed focus. And I thought that was very interesting because that's what we have to do as it relates to work that's really important, like freeing our political prisoners and dying and not letting them die in prison. We have to be focused on what they really mean to us. We have to understand that we have to do what's correct, and we can't let nobody sidetrack us. So, brother, in this world of distractions, we know that these distractions are deliberate. You know, how should people deal with distractions? Where should they place these distractions?
Well, again, I say, as a birthday present to Mumia Jamal, brothers and sisters out there, the multitudes, the millions, you understand, to our youth, take you up some paper and a pen, you understand, and do your research. And in the spirit of Mumia Abu Jamal, do your studying, so truth becomes clear to you from falsehood, fantasy land, make believe, you understand, lies, you understand, become clear so you can clearly detect a lie, you understand, and that the truth will shine forward. Do your research. When you research, make sure that the sources that you go to are reliable and knowledgeable. You understand, and what they're saying. And in this way, clear, logical, rational thinking, becomes a part of your being. You understand? And this is the type of thinking that you apply to the world of reality, these changing realities, all this phenomenon, so you can understand, as Marvin Gaye say, what's going on, in the spirit of Mumia Abu Jamal. Research, use your thinking skills, and spread the word, spread the knowledge to your brothers and sisters, so they will, more and more of our people will become soldiers in the war for truth and justice. You understand? We have a deep burning need, the deep human desire for justice and truth. You understand? So do your research, do your writing. You understand? And put the information out there. You understand? Become a leader yourself. You understand? Because we got the power, brothers and sisters. And what is the call? Free them all. Free us all.
Free them all. So
Free 'em
just to
all.
let you know what's going on in the world of political prisoners, at about 1 o'clock today, there's going to be a program coming on, and they're going to be dealing with human rights issues. They're going to be dealing with political prisoners. I'm going to give you that information right here. For those who can see it, please pass it on. Share. It says, our problem is your problem. It is not a black problem nor an American problem. This is a world problem, a problem for humanity. It is not a problem of civil rights. It is a problem of human rights. That's Malcolm X. So there's going to be a program today at 1 o'clock. Information provided for you right on the screen. For those who want that information and they can't see it, contact me at 347-679-3936. I can provide that information for you so you can get informed and you can share with others. On another note, a brother by the name of Blood. He was a member of the Black Liberation Army. His name is Thomas Blood McCary. They're going to have a homegoing service. He made his transition. That's going to be this Friday at the Schomburg from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Let's play revolutionary condolences to this comrade who made his transition. He did his work best he could. Let's respect him by showing up. Let's respect him by making some time to keep him in our thoughts and our conversations. So it is known that we don't fight. We do fight back. We don't just accept our current situations. We make a clear decision that nothing's going to change unless we stand up and fight for it. So this episode comes to a conclusion. Thank you for your time. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Encourage others to subscribe. Subscription is at $199 with one subscription away from being 200. I think that says a lot. We're building up further momentum, and we couldn't do it without those who support this particular work. What's the call?
Free them all.
What's the call?
Free them all.
What's the call?
Free them all.
What's the call?
Free them all.